Whenever he gazes at you, you swore his eyes go half-lidded, as if in a dreamy daze. But you didn't think much about it.
Thank you.
What was that? Oh. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir David, and today I want to play the demo of a game called The Kid at the Back. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. Day 1, the beloved. Okay. And class dismissed. By our next meeting, I need a full report of the chosen poem everyone searched. Got it? The classroom was then filled with a series of low yes ma'ams and a few hums. Satisfied, your literature teacher packs up her things and went out of the classroom. Once she was out, the students went on a series of chitter and chatter. Others stood up, dragging their chair as they prepared to head out for lunch break. A slight yawn escaped your lips. Your eyes gazed outside through the classroom's windows. The sun's rays blocked by the dark clouds looming. You cursed under your breath. It's going to rain. Just my luck. I didn't bother to bring an umbrella, too. You sighed in irritation as you stood up from your seat. Suddenly, a tap on your shoulder interrupted your line of thought. You turned your head towards the person asking for your attention. Your eyes met with cobalt blue ones. They stared straight into your own orbs, a brow raised as if in slight irritation. She's clearly impatient. Impatient for what? Pretty! You look like a Barbie doll that I would pay $40 for. Did you hear me? Do you want to come with us for lunch? I mean, I know you don't really eat lunch and spend most of your time somewhere else, but you're sure you're not going to eat? I mean, look at you. Your eye twitched from her words. You have no idea if that was out of concern for your well-being, or if she's trying to bring you down. Either way, it stung you. You wrapped your arms around yourself, your insecurity rising up to your throat, trying to suffocate you. Brittany! Yeah, Brittany. Just then, a new and familiar voice broke your inner turmoil. Oh, that's right. That's really insensitive of you. Imagine if someone else told you about how you look. Someone could have a lot of words about how Brittany looks. I don't think that skirt is up to school code. Her hair looks amazing, though. Crowe Ichabod. The class representative and one of your close friends. Heck, probably only one of your friends that you really admire. And maybe have a tiny crush on. Yeah. Brittany only huffed and looked away from Crowe's spiteful gaze as he turns his attention to you. Crowe gives you a small smile while handing out something to you. You look down to see it. It was your ID. Oh, you dropped this, by the way. You grabbed your ID and looked down to see. My name is Espoir. It means hope in French. And David means of the void. It's a long story that maybe I should tell one day. You took your ID back from Crowe and gave him a small thank you. He gave you a closed smile, muttering a no problem, as he went back to Brittany's side where the rest of his friends are. So, are you coming with us or not? Brittany said, clearly getting impatient by the second, her hand on her hip while waiting for your response. You then decided to. Yeah, sure. Before we go to the library or the rooftop. Brittany hummed a sound of content before turning her heel and heading towards the classroom's exit. In tow with her was 4 other people, one being Crowe. Crowe looks back at you by the door, waiting for you. You caught up with them and met eyes with Crowe again. There was something in his gaze that sent a shiver down your spine. You quickly averted your eyes once you got out with Crowe, following behind you, and the group heading towards the school's cafeteria. The cafeteria was loud, students lining up to grab today's school lunch while the rest went to a table with their packed lunches. I'm so glad I don't have to go to school anymore.
So, Espoir, do you want to come with us to get the school's food for the day? Or do you want to go grab a table with the others?
Brittany said, her gaze fixated on you. Cute! Brittany, along with Crowe, and a girl with an orange uniform seemed to be grabbing a school lunch. Meanwhile, the two guys with them have their own packed lunch, about to head off to find a seat for the group. You decided that you... don't make me decide. Truth be told, I kinda did like school lunch.
I'll buy.
All right, then.
Daryl, Geo, go find us some seats while we line up.
The jock, you assumed was named Daryl, waved Brittany away and turned around with the other male named Geo to find a seat, his arm wrapped around his shoulder while Geo was clearly a bit annoyed at the gesture.
Come on, Jess, let's get in line. Yes, of course. You go first, Britt.
Aww. The girl Brittany called out, you guess was Jess, followed behind her. Let's get in line before more people start piling up. We don't want to get the bad stuff of lunch. Again, as much as I did like school lunch, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. You shuddered at the thought, remembering the leftovers from the school cafeteria. You nodded and went with Crowe, and getting in line with the rest of the students. In the line, Crowe turned his attention back to you. I'm glad you were able to hang around with us, Espoir. Even if it's most of the time. No problem. Why would I regret coming?
No problem, Crowe. Maybe I just need a change of scenery, that's all.
Crowe just chuckled before picking his food behind the counter, paying for it afterwards as you did the same. You weren't really that hungry, and just bought a sandwich and a juice that you regularly buy whenever you find the time to spend your lunch break here. Brittany was already waiting for the rest of you, tray in hand. Once everyone got their food, Brittany turned her heel and walked towards where Daryl and Geo were seated.
Move your buns aside, Daryl.
Ooh. Uh-oh. A loud gasp escaped through Brittany's lips. Her mouth opened in shock with the food that was on her tray, now splattered across her white uniform. Oh, that's never coming out.
Brittany!
Oh no.
Oops, sorry about that. You should have watched where you were going there.
Brittany's eyes were met with the person responsible. Oh no. Oh no, they're about to figure out who Brittany is. A group of girls, definitely bullies, and judging from Brittany's face filled with rage, they seemed to know each other.
Britt? Are you all right? We should get you cleaned.
You. Fluffing. Biscuit! Brittany just turns to me. Gosh darn it, Espoir, why won't you curse?
This is my only clean uniform. How fluffing dare you? Oh, look at Miss Claire all flared up. Careful there, sweetie. You'll get wrinkles.
Mean girl's gonna die tonight.
It's not like you're all ugly already.
Oh, well, now we have to murder them, Brittany. Now they must die. They must perish. And by ugly, this is getting ugly quite fast. Everyone's gazes were on the group of girls, some taking out their phones and yelling World Star. Either taking pictures or starting a recording. Crowe tried to come in between them to stop the fight, but he wasn't fast enough. No, let him work it out. The next thing we knew, another loud gasp was heard. A wide smile on Brittany's face, food on the mean girl's white uniform as well. Jess's face filled with shock as the food from her tray was gone.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Aw, she was gonna eat that. Take that, crap stain.
How dare you?
Food fight! Next thing everyone knows, the cafeteria is filled with rowdy teenagers and food flying across the area. Are those trays? A sudden wave of pain was felt on your head, and your whole face. The last thing you saw was Crowe calling out your name before passing out. Aww. Well, geez. How heavy are those trays?
Where am I?
Did I get isekai'd by a tray? Oh, you're awake. Thank goodness.
Crowe?
You tried to sit up, but the sudden pain that went through your head stopped you. Crowe gently pushed you back down on what seemed to be a bed before taking a seat beside it. The nurse already bandaged your head. Don't push yourself. Got beaten up by a lunch tray. Aren't those supposed to be made of cheap aluminum?
What happened?
Well, after Daryl started that mess of a food fight, the principal was called in to stop it. Daryl got lucky enough to escape when he did. Gio was nowhere to be seen. As for Brittany, is Brittany okay?
What about her?
Well, Jess helped her out to grab a new uniform from the principal's office.
Then why does my head hurt so much?
Someone somehow threw a tray, and you were unfortunate enough to get hit by it. Thankfully, I got you out of there before it got ugly.
Thanks, Crowe. I owe you one.
Don't mention it. Anyway, it's 1:15 in the afternoon. I should probably head out to my next class. You should stay here until the nurse gets back. You'll be all right alone here, right?
No. Yes, you can go ahead.
You sure?
Yes, I'll be fine, Crowe. You've done enough for me today.
You gave him a small smile, but he didn't return it. Crowe then squeezed your hand, quite hesitant of letting you go before letting go. You miss it as soon as he lets go. Just confess already. He stood up from his seat, but not before giving you a smile, and left the infirmary. You groaned and lied back on the bed, feeling the bandage on your head.
At least the pain is slowly dying a bit. I hope it didn't leave a mark on my head.
Just then, you heard the door open, the nurse's voice echoing through the room as the clicking of her heels got louder as she drew closer. Oh, for a split second I thought that was the nurse. Like, ma'am, that is quite the look for a nurse. No, that is not the nurse. The school nurse entered, and following her was a tall student dressed in black. He seemed to be holding on to his left hand, and there you can clearly see a streak of red flowing. You should be thankful you didn't cut a vein. How are they able to get past with that pocket knife in the first place? The nurse sighed. Seems like she got her hands full with another student. The latter, however, didn't say anything, but lets out a small hiss when the nurse dabbed antibacterial on his wound. You sat up slowly, careful not to hit your head on anything else, before sitting up and looking at the student and the nurse. Your eyes were met with reddish-orange as the nurse finishes up wrapping around his wound, a blotch of red slowly seeping out and staining the once white bandage. His eyes still on you.
Ah, you're finally awake, Miss David.
The nurse finally noticed your presence. She took out some painkillers from one of the cabinets and gave some to you.
Take these to lessen the pain. You both are free to get back to your class, or you can stay here and recover.
I'll go back. Thanks for patching me up, nurse.
The boy said before heading out of the infirmary. The nurse just shook her head before returning her attention to you. You can take some extra pills, but not too much. You can come back here if you ever feel anything wrong, Miss David. Take care now. Avoid any trays. You thanked the nurse before heading out of the infirmary and on to your next class. You just barely made it out to your next class, your professor already on his desk, and was slowly bringing out their tools for the lesson of the day. You looked across the room, paintbrushes by the shelves, the week's featured artwork with a few blank canvases hidden on a shelf. You looked around the classroom before your eyes landed on familiar red ones.
Oh, hi.
It's the guy from the clinic. How come I just noticed his presence just now? Has he always been a part of the same art class as me? And judging from his face, the bandage around his left hand doesn't seem to be much of a problem to him. You shook your head and took your seat. I'll be assigning everyone with a partner to work with for the upcoming weeks. You and your partner will be doing 3 different artworks that need to be submitted by the deadline. Hope you all got a partner already by this time. Now, I want you all to go to your designated partners before I start explaining your tasks.
Meld!
You mumbled under your breath. This is what you get for not attending his class last time. You don't have a partner. You panicked as you looked around, trying to spot some loner or an unfortunate soul like you who wasn't able to attend last time. But from the looks of it, it seemed like everyone is already partnered up. Just great. You are forced out of your seat since your seatmate's partner will be occupying it for the class. Unlike the rest of the class scurrying around to meet their partner, there was one who wasn't moving from his seat. You went to where he was situated, seemingly reading a book. You let out a small cough to catch his attention. He closed his book and looked up at you.
Seems like you're a bit lost there.
Do you have a partner?
No.
Well, just your luck then. Me neither. So, do you want to be partners?
Sure. Why not?
You took the vacant seat right beside him. His book now tucked away, and on his desk is now a pen and a piece of paper, seemingly ready to take notes. Hey, I never got your name.
It's not quite important.
Well, I should at least know what to call you instead of green streaked hair guy. He does have lovely hair. He raised a brow at your silly nickname you gave him before slightly shaking his head.
Sullivan. Brugmansia.
Sullivan Brugmansia. That is quite a cool name.
But just call me Soul.
Soul? Cool. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Soul means sun or brightness, right? Soul nodded.
I guess you could say that.
I like it. It's a unique name.
Thanks.
Well, I am Espoir du Vide. Nice to finally know your name, Soul. Soul nodded with a small smile before returning his attention back to the professor. For this term, I want you and your partner to pass 3 art pieces. First one would be a portrait of your partner, strictly on paper with charcoal as a medium. You groaned. Boomer art teachers. Your professor then proceeds to give the other 2 tasks before leaving you and the rest of the class to do your task for the day. Everyone started talking with their partners, some taking out their needed materials as the other one poses. You turn to Soul as he takes out his own charcoal pencil and a sketch pad for the class. I gotta tell you right now, Soul, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but my art is pretty decent. My art is... I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty good.
Oh? Then surprise me. Sorry, I can't draw you back because of this darn injury.
Oh yeah, I guess you wouldn't. No, don't worry about it. You're excused. I don't want you to stress your hand over this. You took out your sketch pad and your pencil and worked with his portrait with determination, his eyes never leaving your face. You would often look up to see his features, taking note of every curve, a blush occasionally invading your cheeks as he tries his best not to look away while you worked. While you were sketching up, you can't help but avert your eyes on his bandaged hand from time to time.
Seems you're quite curious to know what happened to this, huh?
You weren't slick with it either. You froze when he caught you red-handed, just like the red seeping out of his hand. Ooh, you probably need to change your bandages. You stopped drawing. Sorry, that was rude of me.
It's fine. This is just the usual for me. I've gotten worse injuries than this.
You raise a brow to that. Not the worst? If you don't mind me asking, what happened? He paused and averted his eyes, but opens up to speak.
Nothing much. Was minding my own business. Got assaulted. Had to defend myself.
He talked as if it's another normal Monday for him. Your eyes furrowed. He noticed and just chuckled.
No need to worry about me. All that matters is that I'm still here.
You didn't say anything, however, continuing on the drawing, your movement slow and now refusing to look at his injured hand. This school is way more fluffed up than I thought it would be. The bell rang, and sadly you weren't done with his portrait yet.
Can I see it?
Wait. I mean, it's not finished yet. I'll show it to you once I'm done with it. Plus, you still need to draw me once your injury gets better.
You closed your sketch pad and fixed your things. Sol shrugged and agreed as he fixed his own things. The rest of the class went out of the classroom along with you and Sol as you continued on in the hallway. Do you have a phone? We should exchange numbers and update each other so we can do the next 2 more tasks. Sol then takes out his own phone and asks for your number. You recite it out as he inputted into his phone.
Let me try to send you a message.
You nodded and looked at your phone screen to see a new notification from an unknown number. This must be Sol's.
Sup?
You type so differently from how you look.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. You chuckled. He rolled his eyes. You're a good guy, Sol. How about we hang out again tomorrow? By your request, Sol's eyes widened in disbelief. He let out a breath that he was somehow holding before sighing.
Of course. I'll see you tomorrow then.
You nodded and walked off, giving him a wave goodbye, him returning with his own small wave.
Aww.
Did I just make a new best friend? As you walked through the hallway, your eyes caught on something in the nearby bulletin board. A poster was plastered on a large board. The Hallows Ball. Come and enjoy the festive spirit of Hallows Eve. A Halloween party, huh? Ooh. By the time you arrived at your small apartment, it was already past 5 p.m. You stretched out your arms and let out a small groan. You locked your doors and decided to just order takeout for dinner. You went to your living room and plopped down on the couch and took out your phone, scrolling through until a ping notified you of a message. Anyone want to go to the Halloween party this Friday? It's gonna be awesome.
Aren't we all a bit too old for costume parties?
You're never too old for costume parties.
Ow.
Gio doesn't even have a picture.
Is it required? You two are no fun at all. I won't go if it's not a school requirement, much less a waste of my time.
Is it?
No, it isn't. But it'll be a great and fun experience for all of us. I mean, we should loosen up a bit, you know?
I agree with Crowe. Count me in.
Pass.
Oh, come on, Gio.
I've got more important things to do than that party. Now, will you excuse me? I'll be doing my leftover tasks for tonight.
Gio left.
Sheesh, a stick in the mud, as usual. How about you, Espoir?
Me?
You joining? It'll be fun.
You betcha. You were honestly surprised that somehow they remembered you. Checking your calendar through your phone, you didn't seem to have any plans in the near future, or plans at all. You'd just like to spend your time in your apartment, alone.
I mean, sure.
That's great to hear.
Crowe seems happy about it. You giggled. This also reminds you of something, or rather, someone. Opening another chat, you tapped in Sol's newly added contact and sent him a message by sending the image of the same poster Daryl sent.
A Halloween party? Hosted by the school?
Yeah.
I'm not quite into parties.
Oh. Well, that's all right. Just asking, that's all.
Wait. If you're coming, then I'm coming as well.
Really?
Really.
Do you plan on dressing up?
I don't know. Do you?
Yes!
I mean, it's a costume party, so why not?
I'll try to think of something then.
You swear you can feel the smile behind those words. With a quick word of goodbye, you set your phone down when you heard your doorbell.
That must be the food delivery.
That better be the food delivery. Afterwards, you ate your dinner and prepared yourself for bed. You thought of today and the events that occurred, and meeting Sol, of course. He's a really nice guy. It's a wonder how I never met him despite sharing a single class with him. Oh well. You entered your bedroom, letting out a big yawn as you stretched your body. You turned to your laundry, slowly piling up, and scratched your head. We'll probably do laundry tomorrow. But for now, you plopped yourself on the soft cushions of your bed, getting into a comfortable position and slowly dozing off as you closed your eyes, embracing sleep as the night goes.
Yeah, what happens if I go to the library instead?
No, thank you. I think I'll head to the library today.
Brittany just gave a low huff, not saying anything. She turned around with 4 of her friends following her lead, one of them being Crowe. He, however, gave you one last look before heading out with the rest of the group. A sigh of relief escaped your lips as you gathered your thoughts and things. Next stop, the library. The hallway was rowdy and filled with a mix of sweaty and tired young adults, some on their way to their next class, while the rest went to the cafeteria's direction. And of course there were some who were going in the same direction as you. The library door is beyond your reach, a smile etched on your face, already missing the smell of books. You opened the door and were hit by the smell of coffee and books. You went to your usual spot in the library, the one by the large window near the cafe section. The fancy thing about your university is that their library is a library cafe. Ooh. Students can get coffee as early in the morning up until the afternoon. It's a huge hit amongst the students, and you can't seem to blame them. Coffee fuels every college student's souls, especially getting work done. As you made your way towards your usual spot, however, you halted when a person suddenly took a seat on the spot. You groaned. Just great. What should I do about this? Challenge them! Take the seat beside them. At the cost of the comfort of your favorite spot, you don't want to deal with him, nor want to engage in a conversation. You walked towards where he sat, him not minding your presence, and took the seat right next to him. He paid you no mind as you placed your things down and took out your laptop, preparing to write a head start of your report. It was quiet, and your attention was just solely focused on the work before you, while the guy beside you continued on his book. The sound of him flipping through it was oddly comforting. Time passed by, and the next thing you knew, there were only a few students in the library. The guy beside you closed his book, chucked it in his bag, and left the library. And then you take your seat back. You turned to look up at the library's large clock, a few minutes before your next class. You stopped writing, turned off your laptop, and placed all of your things in your bag before heading out of the library as you quickly rushed out to make it to your next class. Your name contradicts with your whole glam, not gonna lie. Sol looked away, scratching his cheek.
Guess so. Not really the jolly type. Hugo's more of that.
Well, I'm Miss Bois du Vide. Nice to finally know your name, Sol.
Who's Hugo? What if I say, I'm not that good at art?
Everyone starts somewhere. Would you like me to draw you first, then?
Oh, hey, his hand's not bandaged up here.
It's not a problem.
I guess since I didn't meet him in the... Wait a minute. Awful convenient for you to be in the nurse's place when I'm in the nurse's place, and awful convenient for you to be in the exact place in the library where I usually am. Was your hand cut because of me? I've got my eye on you, Sol.
Not at all.
With that, Sol takes out his own sketchbook and pencil, sitting upright and facing you. You straightened up your back, sitting properly as if you were about to take an ID picture. Is this okay?
Just relax your shoulders. You'll be fine. Just be natural.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Your breathing stopped. Sol leaned in, his face a few inches from your face, almost feeling his minty breath.
Oh, he's mint-flavored.
He raised his hand and brushed a strand of your hair away from your face and tucked it behind your ear. There. That was in the way.
You were sure you were bright as a cherry by now.
You didn't say anything else as Soul begins his sketch, his eyes hopping from the paper to your face, and you swear every time you meet his gaze, your heartbeat quickens.
Be still, my beating heart.
And you dealt with that for the rest of the class.
Yeah.
Before you knew it, the class ended. Everyone was packing their things. Soul sadly isn't done with your portrait, which you were dying to see, but he said he was going to keep it a secret until he finishes it.
You better not make me look funny.
What makes you think that?
Why, you...
I'm kidding. His hand then tried to reach out to your face, as if wanting to cup your cheek. But he stopped midway. You're so pretty.
Did you say something, Soul?
Nothing.
Aww. So, we end up in a hospital, and he ends up in a hospital. We go to the library, and Soul ends up in the library, so I'm guessing if I go to the rooftop, he's gonna be there too.
A tick of irritation formed on your forehead before huffing out the anger.
Actually, I was feeling somewhere else today, so no thanks. You and your group can go ahead.
Brittany raised an eyebrow before shrugging her shoulders.
Suit yourself, then.
She snapped her fingers before turning around and heading out with the rest of her friends. In all honesty, you have no idea where to go, despite the school being very notorious and having so many facilities. You are thankful you got accepted here in the first place through your scholarship. But making friends in this forsaken school is on a whole new level. You sighed and looked out through the classroom's windows at the darkening sky. Maybe the smell and sound of the incoming rain might help ease the burning feeling within you. With a goal in mind, you went to the rooftop. The rooftop is off limits, but they don't often bother to even lock it up, much less barricade it. Once you got in, you took a seat on the pavement under a small shade as droplets of rain slowly descend down from the sky. That sounds lovely, actually. Just then, you heard footsteps to your right. A few mutters of words were heard. Curiosity nagged you. You went to the corner where the sound came from, and there stood what seemed to be a student with bluish-green hair.
Ah!
They were in a call, their steps in a cycle going back and forth as he talked to whoever he was talking to behind his flip phone. His other hand grips his hair, clearly irritated by whoever he was talking to. He flipped his phone closed and let out a sigh. Suddenly, his body froze.
Oh, hi!
The drastic change in his demeanor sent chills down your spine. I can see you, you know. Show yourself.
I'm just sitting here.
You slowly inched forward, showing yourself to the strange student. The more you look at his face, the more he seemed familiar, and judging from his facial expression, he was thinking the same thing. How much did you hear?
I only heard you curse and nothing else.
You answered with honesty. He raised a brow, trying to look at your face, seeing if you're telling the truth. He sighed and shook his head. Either way, it's rude to eavesdrop on someone's conversation.
I told you, I just got here.
You furrow your eyebrows. He just chuckled, acting as if it was just silly teasing. You seem familiar. Let me remember. He closed his eyes, his hands on his chin, a thinking motion like those cartoon detectives in TV shows. Espoir du vide, from art class, correct?
Yeah, we're being honest this playthrough.
The student smiled in glee. That's great. That means you'd be willing to help me with something.
Wait, what?
I'm Hugo, by the way.
I guess that answers who Hugo is.
You see, I won't be able to make it to the next class, and I kind of promised my partner for the class that I'd be there. Hugo chuckled, a sweat drop forming on his cheek. You gave him a look.
Seriously?
But I'll make it up to you.
I promise. I'm quite close to the student council and happen to know a few connections. I might be able to refer you if you'd like. He says with a wink and a nudge, wanting you to take the offer. That does seem like a good offer. It could help lessen your expenses and have a higher discount on your scholarship. And judging from his looks, it doesn't seem like you have a choice. With a sigh, you accepted his offer. Hugo gave you a pat on the back, as if you guys have been long friends before escorting you out of the rooftop with him in tow. Hey, I just wanted to sit here and enjoy the rain. The school bell rings, indicating the start of the next class. Aww, he's got a bruise on his face now. That wasn't there before. Who beat him up? Why is he all bruised? Alright, let me draw you this time. If you would give me the honor to draw you. Go ahead. At least I could count on you. Was your friend any good at art as well? Friend? Yeah, Hugo, he's your buddy, right? Oh, yeah. I already had an assigned partner for this class. But he last minute ditched me for some important family business. He never tells me, though. And I'm not the type to pry either. I would like to pry. What happened to your face? Does your friend go by the name Hugo, perhaps? Yeah. How'd you know? I met him during lunch. He was at the rooftop. Typical of him. Sorry you got dragged into this mess of taking his place. You shook your head, telling him that you don't mind one bit. He then keeps talking, as if he's scolding the green-haired lad back in the rooftop like a little brother. It was actually very cute. You slowly took out your sketch pad and started drawing Soul's different expression as he talks. Would you believe me if I told you that that guy is one of the top students in the entire class, yet is always missing in action? Really now? He doesn't seem to be that type of guy. Which part? Being a top student, or always missing in action? Soul's brow raised, and you shrugged as you kept on sketching his face. Soul, however, caught up to what you were doing, and stood up from his seat, trying to pry your sketch pad out of your hands. Were you drawing me this entire time? I said I was gonna. No? Liar. I thought I was supposed to be the one drawing you, not the other way around. He sat back on his seat and crossed his arms. His eyes narrowed while he bit his lower lip. Aw, come on. It's not a big deal, Soul. Plus, you look really cute. Soul's cheeks turned red, and his eyes popped wide from your comment and looked away. The grip on his arm tightened as he wrinkled his long sleeves. Aww. You said something? You said something? No, I totally didn't say I'm not as cute as you, or anything. Nothing. You tilted your head to the side. You sure mumble a lot. It's a habit. I'm not used to talking a lot. Keep talking about your friend Hugo. You seem to be so fond of him regardless. Soul just sighed and rubbed his nape, his expression relaxing a bit. I owe him a lot, that's all. Enough about Hugo, though. Let's continue on with our task. All right. I'll keep drawing. I'm drawing, and that's final. Aw, you pouted. All right, grumpy. As you drew, you couldn't help but stare at his face and the bandage on his cheek, and judging from how much it's covering half of his face, it's quite a large bruise. You fell down the stairs or something? What makes you say that? He asked. You pointed at the wound on his cheek with your pencil. Well, you can say that. Nothing for you to worry about, though. You weren't sure if you wanted to pry more into the conversation, much less want to know what exactly happened, because from the way he talks, it doesn't seem like he fell. But that's a story for another day. Hope it gets better soon. Thanks. Soul managed to sketch up your portrait, but was caught up by the bell eventually, not being able to finish on time.
He tried to pry off your sketch pad from your hands again, however, trying to get rid of the doodles you made of him during his little rant about his friend. But you chucked your sketch pad into your bag before you could get his hands on it. You can't see my sketch pad. There are things in here that would require an explanation. Soul eventually gave up and started packing as well. You and him went to the exit door of the classroom and continued on in the hallway. Does anything happen if I keep hiding from Hugo? You kept hiding, refraining from leaving from your hiding spot. Who knows what this guy is capable of? Plus, it's kind of suspicious why he's here at the school's rooftop, out of all places to be. Usually people go up to the rooftop if they don't want something exposed. The student just sighed and scratched his head. I'm not going to hurt you, you know, he said as he turned around. Your eyes widened as his gaze met yours despite being hidden. What the fluff? Seeing no use in hiding any longer, you went out of your spot, but with an alerted stance. He just chuckled. You seem familiar. Let me remember. Ah, Espoir, from art class, correct? He said with a snap of his fingers, kind of like seeing those detective cartoons you see in TV when they figured out a clue. No, I'm not. No, why would you think that? No, I think you've got the wrong Espoir there. You're thinking of Espoir from the game Gentil Alouette. I'm a different Espoir. You lied. The person before you just blinked at you, twice in disbelief, scratching his cheek in confusion. For real? I could have sworn you're the same person. His voice lowered before waving it away. Either way, I'm Hugo, and I need your help with something. You see, I won't be able to make it to the next class, and I kind of promised my partner for the class that I'd be there. Why are you still roping me into this, Hugo? I just told you I'm not Espoir. After meeting Hugo, what if I say, I'm not that good at art? I'm still quite a beginner. You got nothing to worry about. My usual partner isn't much of an artist either. Your usual partner? Oh yeah, I already had an aside partner for this class. But he last minute ditched me for some important family business. Okay, back in the library, instead of asserting my dominance and meekly sitting next to him, what if I just find somewhere else to sit? You don't want to deal with strangers, or anyone at this very moment. Even if you want to be at your spot at the very moment. Looking around, you decide to find a different seat. Sadly, the available ones you are able to see are the ones next to loud gossiping students. You swear out of all places to be, they have to be in the library. You decided to grab a book to avert your attention to something else. You don't feel like doing your research paper. You went to the fiction section. Tall bookshelves come in your view. Your fingers brushed along the spines of the books, some old and some new. A thud caused the shelf to wobble a bit, nearly knocking a few books down. You clicked your tongue and tried to take a peek through the bookshelves to see what's causing it. Uh-oh. Red-haired bully. Get out of here, red herring. Well, look what we have here. It's Creep McGee. They better not be talking about baby Soul. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Great. Another bullying situation. You sigh. Sometimes people never grow out of their high school phase. The poor teen didn't say anything, as they were pinned to the bookshelf, explaining the few shakes. Just then, the teen muttered something under his breath. What did you say? Speak up, freak. I said, fluff off. Gosh dang it, Espoir, why won't you curse? Why, you little... Oh, is that why he's got a bruise on his face? You winced, the redhead landing a blow on the boy before your eyes caught something glistening from the raven-haired bully's pocket. Oh, a pocket knife. How the fluff did he get in with that? Let's see if you'll continue being a smart aleck once I cut your mouth.
Save the baby! Save the baby!
I've got to stop them. You rushed out as quickly as you could across to where the bullies were. Stop! From the sound of your voice, the bullies halted their movement and turned to face where you were. You looked at the teen, clearly knocked down to the floor, a few books on his side.
They hurt the baby, even though I'm pretty sure he was gonna mess them up too.
Your eyes met with the piercing reddish ones. His eyes narrowed as he turned at your sudden appearance. If you hurt him, I'll scream and alert everyone in the library. By your threat, the bullies clicked their tongues before roughly kicking the teen on the floor and leaving, the raven-haired one shoving your shoulder on the way. You rubbed the area where the bully shoved you before turning your attention back to the teen on the floor. He looks pretty beaten up, a purple bruise forming on his left cheek. You went towards him and kneeled down, offering your hand. He said nothing, however, looked at your outstretched hand, hesitating for a while before gripping your wrist and helping him stand up.
Aww.
Now that he's standing at his full height, he's actually pretty tall, probably around 6 feet. His red eyes then going back and forth around the area, back to you, and on a random corner. We should probably get you to the nurse's office.
I'm fine. No need.
And with that, he left as quickly as he came. You trailed after him, seeing him pack up his things from what seems to be your usual spot before exiting the library. Well, at least my usual spot is open now, but I wonder if they're actually feeling all right.
Aww. I'm not that good at art.
I'm still honing my skills in art. Hope that's all right with you.
Everyone starts somewhere. As long as you appreciate the work of art, you'll do fine.
How about you? Maybe you should do my portrait first.
Well, if you insist.
Sol said, relaxing on his seat and taking out his sketchpad and pencil. You sit back and relax as well, tucking a loose strand and fixing your hair as if you're about to take a picture. Sol notices this, and you swear you saw the edges of his lips twitch upward. The sound of pencil against paper filled the classroom, you on your seat as Sol looks up at you and back on the paper from time to time.
His eyes are so pretty!
Whenever he gazes at you, you swore his eyes go half-lidded, as if in a dreamy daze. But you didn't think much about it.
Thank you.
What was that? Oh. Sol stopped his strokes on the paper and finally locked gaze with you. His sketchpad covers half of his face as he speaks.
Thank you, Espoir, for helping me back in the library.
Oh, it's not a problem. You were in quite a pickle, and no one bothered to help you out. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't save you there.
Well, you saved me the trouble today.
After that, Sol said nothing as he looks at you before continuing on. You swear a small
Aw, he's so precious!
You swear a small tint of pink appeared on his ears as he kept hiding half of his face behind his sketchpad. Small conversations were made then and there as he worked while you kept the air afloat. Sorry I wasn't able to make it in time to not get you injured. You startled, and Sol's eyes just widened at you before shaking his head.
Don't worry about it. This type of things are the usual for me.
The usual for you? He sighed, as if the thought alone is such a huge task on his hands while he continues.
I'd get in trouble either way, so what's the point?
Sol then mumbled something under his breath, the grip on the pencil tightening in his grip, before sighing and looking up at you. And that was enough to calm him down, and continued on with his sketch, leaving you dumbfounded.
Aww.
Before you knew it, class was over. Sol, however, is not done with his portrait of you, as his pencil still makes a few more final touches on his sketchpad.
Just a few more touches. There.
Can I see?
Of course.
Sol hands his sketches to you, and you gasp. This looks so good, the details and everything. And he's not even done yet? Sol, this looks amazing. How the fluff did you do this?
Aww. By your compliment, he rubbed the back of his neck and shrugged a little, a bit embarrassed at your compliment. I'd love to sketch once in a while. I'd often draw random people in parks when I go out.
You couldn't help but admire him and his work. Can I keep this? I mean, right after our professor grades it, of course.
Sol places a hand under his chin, thinking about it. Not sure. I think I could do better than that one.
But I really like this one. He chuckled.
All right, you can have it once I'm done and our professor grades it. But in return, I get to keep the portrait you'll make of me, all right?
I think that's a fair deal.
Sol agreed, and you cheered.
Oh.
You gave back his sketch pad and fixed up your things. Sol packed up as well, as you both headed out towards the hallway.
Does anything change if I say I'm pretty good at art?
Would you like me to draw you first? I mean, I don't mind. I'm quite confident in my skill of art,
you said with a smile on your face. Sol thought for a bit. The offer was quite tempting, but then he remembered the bandage on his face. He shook his head as he took out his own sketch pad and pencil. No, it's all right. I'd rather draw you for now.
You sure?
Yes.
Why so?
Because you're prettier.
Oh, you didn't whisper it that time.
I mean, I look like crap. And you look...
Hold on, let me read that. Oh, he was going on a rant of how flawless and ethereal I look. Oh.
Whoa, slow down. What were you saying? That I'm pretty?
And he also said ethereal.
Yes. Can I just draw you? I just don't like how I look with this bandage on my face, that's all. God, I feel like I'm about to explode.
You just gave a small chuckle before letting him do the honors to draw you instead.
I haven't seen what happens if you ask them to move away from your seat, like, hey, get up, you.
That's your seat, and no one else is going to take it away from you and your comfort.
I mean, technically it doesn't belong to you, but whatever.
You puffed out your chest and went towards the person where your rightful spot should be.
Listen here, cutie pie.
He was reading a book, way too focused on it. He didn't notice your presence for a short while. You faked a cough. This seemed to catch his attention.
You're in my seat. Can I have it back?
He looks up from the book he's reading, and you're met with piercing reddish eyes, eye bags right under it, as if he had never gotten a wink of sleep for a week. You twiddled your thumbs and your heart thumping from your chest as you returned his gaze, ending in some sort of stare down. He raised a brow before looking around, under the table, on the seat, heck, even under his book, before turning back to you.
Is he going to say he doesn't see my name on it? Listen, you're going to be getting those bruises from somewhere else.
I don't see your name anywhere.
A vein tightened. Oh, so he's trying to be a smart aleck, huh?
Your cheeks puffed, and he just gave a small chuckle before closing his book and placed it down on the table. I'll give you your seat back, but what can you offer in exchange?
Something intimate.
What, you want a hug or something? He raised a brow at you, a slight tint to his head, wondering what you were trying to imply. Now that I have a good look at him, he actually looks kind of cute.
No, wait, what am I saying?
Shaking your head, ignoring your cheeks heating up, you patted your temples, trying to get rid of the thoughts.
No, keep the thoughts.
Minding you no more, the guy returned his attention to the book in his hands.
Rude. But then again, I am demanding a seat that doesn't belong to me, but still rude.
A groan escaped your mouth. With a pout, you set your things down and sat on the chair next to him.
Okay, what if I offer him a coffee then?
How about a coffee? You sure look like you need one at the moment.
He chuckled. All right, coffee it is then.
He then went back to reading his book and waving you off, awaiting for his drink. You sigh as you went near the library's cafe counter. Next in line, please. However, as you faced the cashier before you, you cursed under your breath. I forgot to ask him what kind of coffee he likes. Fluff it. Whatever, I guess. Facing the cashier again, you decide on,
well, mocha's my favorite, so he's gonna get that.
I'll grab a mocha. Of course, one mocha, coming right up. Once your order was called up, you grabbed the drink of your choice, thanking the barista and going back to the seat where the guy was, careful to not accidentally spill the contents of the drink and avoiding passing students.
Listen here, you. You're gonna get this mocha and you're gonna like it.
There you can see him still reading the book before looking up once he smelled the sweet aroma of coffee beans coming his way. Once you were beside him, you carefully placed down the cup. He took it and held it to his face. He took a small sip from the cup before humming in approval, taking a few more sips from it. He seems to like it.
Yeah! Mocha's the best!
Well, there's your coffee. Are you moving aside or no? He looked up, thinking hard on your words.
All right, but I'm kinda liking the spot too. You just have to deal with me sitting beside you.
You nod, and he moved to the seat right next to your now reserved spot. You took your seat, a smile on your face from your mini victory. He just rolled his eyes playfully before continuing on his book. You set your stuff down and started with your report for your literature class. Time passed by, and lunch was nearing at its end. You huffed out and double-checked the work you've done so far on your laptop. I think that should do it. Satisfied, you started to pack up your things. While doing so, your seatmate started packing up his things as well, noticing his cup of coffee, now empty. He then got out of his seat and walked away, not minding your presence as he exits. You hesitated for a short moment before calling out to him before he could reach the library doors. Hey! He stopped in his tracks and turned around to look at you, a brow raised. What's your next class? Clearly not expecting you to ask, much less talk to him again, he paused before replying.
Art class.
Wait, for real? With Mr. Spring? He nodded. How come you've never seen this guy throughout the semester? Sensing your confusion, he scratched the back of his head.
I don't really care if you've never seen me before. I barely go in class, or make myself known either way.
He sighed, irritation at the back of his throat at the idea. He probably got a warning to attend the class, or he drops. You shook your head. But still, would you like to go to the next class with me? Where'd he go? I guess he went ahead. You shrugged, heading out of the library, and on to your next class, expecting the green streak-haired male to be there.
I'm pretty good at art, not gonna lie.
Soul gives a small smile.
I'd love to see some of your works then. So, would you like to draw my portrait first?
Sure. Wait, let me get my things. You took out your sketch pad and a charcoal pencil as Soul relaxes on his seat.
Would you like me to pose, or...
Maybe do a 3/4 angle pose?
All right.
Your eyes scanned his face. The more you look at him, the more you notice some of his features. His cheekbones, his lips with 2 piercings, his thick eyebrows, the way his hair settles down on his shoulders, and his reddish-orange eyes. He's actually quite handsome. For a moment, you just stared at his eyes. He noticed and stared back, his pupils dilating before he realized he was staring. Aww. Heat rises to his cheeks. He quickly averted his head away. Hey, eyes on me.
Sorry. I'm not used to being stared at for that long.
Relax, it's just me. Plus, you'll stare at my boring face after I'm done with your portrait.
Your face isn't boring. I actually think you look beautiful.
He says, without even thinking twice. His eyes met yours, half-lidded, and his pupils were wide. Now it's your turn to turn red. You hid your face behind your sketchpad and whacked him with your charcoal pencil. Stop saying stupid stuff and stay still. Sol just chuckled and stilled his movements, a hand on his chest and a smile on his face. Before you knew it, the bell rang and class was over. You weren't done with your sketch, however. The conversation kept repeating in your mind, and it made it hard for you to concentrate. And like heck, you're going to show it to Sol.
Come on, just a peek.
It's not done yet.
Boo.
You chucked the sketchpad in your bag before Sol was able to grab it. You got up from your seat and headed out of the classroom, Sol coming close behind with his own bag as he leaves as well with the rest of the class.
Oh yeah, I forgot to see what happens if I have a packed lunch. I brought my own lunch. I don't trust the system's food.
I packed my own lunch. Brittany just shrugged. All right then, let's go, Jess. She went to line up with the rest of the students, the girl with glasses following up behind her. You really need to recall who are the friends you hang out with again. The girl with glasses, as you recalled when Brittany mentioned her name, was Jess. She's a big nerd and has a fondness for this idol named... What was his name again? Eros? Ares? Whatever. You honestly don't care. She's really quiet and attached to the hip towards Brittany, like a dog. It's pathetic.
I'll go line up as well. You'll be fine with those two?
Crowe asked you with concern laced in his tone. You face the other two boys. One clearly talking the other male's ear off, while the other doesn't really give a crap, seeming to look around the cafeteria as if searching for something. You nod your head to Crowe, and he gave you a pat on the head, a blush making its way to your cheeks before he went along with Brittany and Jess. You then head off to where the two guys are, already seated on a table while bringing out their own packed lunch.
Your food always looks so good, Gio. I bet it tastes great. Mind if No. Gio's just like, no.
The guy named Gio said as he slapped the jock's hand away from his bento box. The jock pouted, rubbing his hand before taking out his own packed lunch. As you sat down across from the two boys, Gio kept his eye on you for quite a while, not breaking his gaze as he chewed on his lunch. A shiver went down your spine.
Are you blushing, sir, or do you just look like that?
The jock beside him somehow just remembered your presence on the table and turned his head towards you.
Oh, right. Espoir, right? What did you bring for lunch?
Don't even try it!
I mean, if you don't mind sharing, that is. Both on what it is and if you mind sharing it with me.
You will not touch my food, sir.
Unlike this guy beside me.
Gio rolled his eyes when the jock nudged his shoulder, letting out an irritated groan.
Don't bother with Daryl. He'll take your food either way, even if you did give him some. Hey now.
I'll take my chances back in the lunch line. While the two bicker on, you gave a small chuckle and ate your packed lunch. In the corner of your eye, you noticed Brittany, Jess, and Crowe with their lunch trays on hand, heading towards where you three were seated. Move your butt aside, Daryl.
Okay, what if I instead quickly leave the scene?
You didn't want to be involved in this any longer. Who knows, you might be their next victim if you stay too long.
Why are you bullying people? You're paying for this.
Fluff the books. You can come back when... Fluff the book. You can come back and read some other time. You turned and quickly left. The smell of iron invaded your nose. You shook your head and sped-walked to your table.
Ah, Fluff! You little shoot! You'll pay for that!
What is all that noise? Just in time. From the corner of your eye, you spotted the librarian going to where the bullies were, and a gasp was heard from her lips. 2 of you! To the principal's office! And as for you, Mr. Brugnasia, you stay put as I call for the nurse. You can't help but tune in, more like the librarian's voice was a bit too loud that it reached your ears. As you pack up your stuff, preparing to leave the library, you turned your head, and it was at that moment that you wish you didn't. Oh, he's all cut and bruised. There stood a tall boy in black. His eyes were red and dull, with dark eye bags underneath them. His face was swollen, a purple bruise on his left cheek. But what made your heart stop along with your breathing is the blood on his left hand, a large gash on it. You were too busy staring at his wound that you didn't see him look your way. His gaze started to burn. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't want to get involved this time. You looked away, shoving the remaining notes in your bag, zipping it closed and sprinting away. Fluff the library. I'll just wait back in the classroom for my next class. You looked around the classroom before your eyes landed on something, or rather, someone familiar. Piercing red eyes burning through you. You averted your eyes from his gaze, sweat accumulating from your temple. Crap, it's the guy from the library. I didn't know he was in the same art class as me. Without as much as sparing him a glance, you quickly took your seat by the window and tried to focus on your professor. I'm pretty good at art. Really now? I guess I'm lucky to be partnered with a very skillful person. Can I ask a favor, though? You nodded, signaling for him to go on. Just don't stare too much at my face. I get embarrassed, especially with this bruise. Oh, sorry. Don't worry about it. I would love to draw you if it weren't for my only working hand being injured right now. He sighed. You bit your lower lip as you took your sketch pad and pencil, ready to sketch him as he laid back on his chair and relaxed his posture. You can't help but look at the bandage on his face, the purple bruise not fully covering the entire wound. Your eyes then trailed to his wrapped hand, blood seeping out of it. Your stomach doesn't feel good. Actually, you don't feel good at all. And Sol noticed your change in demeanor. The fact you haven't moved an inch on your sketch pad told him something's wrong. Hey, you okay? If you're worried about my face, don't mind it. It's nothing to be worried about. But Sol remained quiet, not sure on what to do. The best thing he did is pulling his sleeve, trying his best to hide his bandaged hand. There. All better? Espoir? You felt fingers under your chin. The next thing you knew, you were face to face with Sol. His eyes were filled with sorrow, and his brows were furrowed in worry. At the sudden intimacy, your heartbeat quickened, and you pulled away. Sorry. It's all right. You didn't mean to stare. No, I mean, for leaving you there when you actually needed help. Sol raised a brow as he backed away. You were there? Back in the library. I should have helped you if I knew you were going to get badly injured. I'm such a coward. You gripped the pencil, guilt filling through your bones on what you could have easily avoided and maybe helped out. Hey, it's all right. There was nothing else you could do during that time. Who would bother to help me anyway? Say, why don't you make it up to me by finishing that portrait? Sol tells you with a small smile, trying his best to change the subject and to cheer you up. You said nothing, however, but started slow with the sketch, the guilt still eating you from the inside. The bell rang, and sadly you weren't done with his portrait yet, not quite sure of how it turned out. Can I see it? I'm not done yet, though. Is that so? Well, I haven't even gotten started with yours. Can you wait until I could finish it? I promise it won't take long. Take as much time as you need, Espoir. You and Sol then packed up. You hurriedly shoved everything in your bag, wanting to leave the room as soon as possible. You rushed out, catching Sol by surprise.
He quickly fixed his things as well and tried to catch up to you in the hallway. You went out as quickly as you could, but Sol was hot on your trail. He eventually caught up to you and grabbed your wrist with his good hand, stopping you in your tracks. You still refused to look at him. Sol sighed and rubbed the back of his head. Hey. You didn't say anything. Sol realized what he did and let go of your wrist, mumbling a soft sorry under his breath and shoving his hands in his pockets as he bit his lower lip. A slight tint of red invading his ears, but still determined to talk to you. We should try to finish our assignment when we can, so I need to have some ways to contact you. You turned to look at him and thought about it before pulling out your phone. This is just for the sole purpose of the project. Hey, I'd like us to be friends. After what you did to him back in the library? Well, it's not like you're the one who punched him. The apparent shock on your face was enough for him to know exactly what you were thinking about, and tilted his head to the side. His eyes furrowed, and a small smile was on his face. Stop thinking about what happened in the library. I forgive you. In fact, I wouldn't forgive myself if you were in the same position. What was that? You mumble too much, friend. I would like us to be friends, Espoir. You just said that. But why? His eyes ever so softened. Why not? A soft smile on his face, trying to calm you down, telling you that everything is all right. The tightness in your chest slowly faded away the more you looked at him, reassuring you that you did nothing wrong. You're a good guy, Sol. How about we hang out again tomorrow? By your request, Sol's eyes widened in disbelief. He let out a breath that he was somehow holding before sighing. Of course. I'll see you tomorrow then? You nodded and walked off, giving him a wave goodbye, and him returning with his own small wave. Just give me my seat, fam. Just get out. No coffee, no intimacy. Just give me my seat. I have no time for your games. Just leave me and let me have my seat that you stole. However, he just stared at you. A second passed before returning his attention back to his book. If you really want to sit here, then make me. Either way, I'm already comfortable here, so I'm not leaving. This guy is getting on your nerves. Okay, if he doesn't want to leave, then so be it. Without thinking, you moved to him before plopping yourself down on his lap. This clearly caught him by surprise, for he lets out a sharp gasp, his eyes widen, gripping the book he nearly threw away. You looked behind him with a cocky smirk before settling down your things on the table, and went on to do your literature report. He hasn't said anything for a full minute, his body stiff. Did he stop breathing too? Like, is that a book in your pocket, friend, or are you just happy to see me? Relax, will ya? You're making it uncomfortable for me, and it's hard to concentrate. The breath that he was holding was finally let out. He grumbled under his breath and placed his arms beside yours as he watched you go on with your work. Edgar Allan Poe? Yeah, what about it? What a coincidence. My report is about him too, but not on A Dream Within a Dream. What made you choose this poem out of everything else he's written? That was a genuine question from him, eyeing you with curiosity. I just think it's interesting. The way he writes is unlike any other writer out there. Plus, I think this poem talks about being uncertain about something, like about life or about someone's feelings. You trailed off, the ache in your heart suddenly burned within your body. He seemed to notice your change in demeanor before opening his mouth. I think that's a good topic to make a report on. Your eyes met his, a smile on his face. A chuckle left your lips at his response. Thanks. I'll do my best on it. Aww. He realized he was staring for quite a while before looking away, a small red tint invading his cheeks, avoiding your gaze. You smiled and went on with your report. He finally relaxed underneath you. How about you? What's the poem you picked from the great Mr. Poe himself? The guy looked up as if thinking before turning to look at you. Have you read Annabelle Lee? If my memory serves right, it's a poem about his love for this woman named Annabelle Lee, right? That poem, not gonna lie, has a lot of deep meaning and symbolism to it. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. But then again, I don't really read a lot of poetry, and I should. Anyone can have multiple interpretations of it. But the main concept, at least in my opinion, is that the speaker loves Annabelle to the point of death, and even after death. Soul? Soul! Yeah, pretty much. And I honestly think it's beautiful. Love? Death. Soul! We already know that this game is probably going to take a turn for the worst. The last thing we need is you putting my head in a jar. His body laxed, mind somewhere else, but the small smile and the light in his eyes are apparent before his smile turned into a frown. But people refuse to let them be together, as if fate refused them to die together. What? What was that about you won't let that happen? What? He won't let that happen? Not again? What do you mean by that? What was that? What? Oh, no, don't mind me. But, yeah, that's what my report's about. Sorry, I kind of started rambling on. No, I don't mind. Thanks for sharing. You should really stop mumbling about, death and love and what you're potentially going to do to me. I honestly think it's quite interesting. Also, I didn't think you'd be the type of person to be into romance. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing. Some time passed, and there were only a few more minutes left before the bell rang. You packed up your things and stood up from your seat, almost forgetting you made someone some sort of cushion. I'm surprised she didn't feel a book in her pocket. Hey, sorry for sitting on you like that. That was kind of rude of me. No, it's all right. Mumbler! What was that? He said he'd like me to stay a bit longer. Nothing. Your next class is art, correct? How did you know? It's my next subject. Who knows? Maybe we're classmates, or just have different teachers. He lets out a sigh, seemingly disappointed at the realization. He packed up his things, and before heading towards the exit, you followed him on the way out. Just then, you heard someone calling out your name. You faced to your left and saw no one other than Crowe, Brittany, and the rest of her group of friends. Crowe's like, you better not have been having a meet-cute with someone in the library. I see that you did spend your time in the library. I did. How was lunch? Aw, Brittany's all messed up still. Brittany's eyes narrowed. You didn't understand why, but the moment your eyes went to her ruined uniform, you kind of guessed what happened. That has gotta be one of the best food fights I've ever been in! The jock behind her exclaimed. He seemed to be unstained, save for a few spaghetti sauces on his jersey, but that didn't seem to bother him. Dearly, you better shut your fluffing mouth before I would do the honors for you. No, Brittany. Let's just go to the changing room and ask the principal for some extra uniforms, all right? The girl with glasses cuts off Brittany, calming her down in the process. You're right. Let's go, Jess. Can't believe I have to be late on my next class because of this bullcrappery. Hey, looks like I missed a fun time of getting hit in the head with a tray. Daryl said nothing, but hid behind the tall, stoic male as both Jess and Brittany left. Sometimes I forget how scary she is. Don't you agree, Gio? Get off me. I love Gio's energy. Sometimes you wondered how the groups are even friends. But then again, people don't usually approach your friend group. You often wonder. But then again, it's none of your business to pry. It's just a group of weirdos. Ignore them. So, back to you, Espoir. Oh, right. I actually had to fight someone for my favorite spot in the library. Talk about a pain in the butt. Crowe chuckled, his eyes telling you to go on.
He shouldn't have gotten too far. He just left.
You turned around, expecting the green-hair-streaked male to be there, but to your surprise, he was already gone.
He's fast?
How curious. Do you happen to know who they are? I don't even know if I got his name at that point.
No, I never got to ask what his name was.
Well, you better get off to your next class. We only have a few minutes left before the bell rings.
Do colleges have
bells? I'll see you soon, Espoir. You waved him goodbye, Crowe going forward with Daryl and Geo behind. You scratched your head before heading towards the other direction, and on to your next class as the bell rings, echoing through the hallway. Well, that was The Kid at the Back, and keep in mind this is just a demo, and also that this game is meant for adults. I don't know if there's any shenanigans going on here, but there's definitely something up with Sweet Soul. He is very cute, though. And what's with that red book? But I'd love to know what you think about all these happenings and goings-on, so you can leave a comment in the comment place, and I will read them. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.